Episode 87. Let's see what this meeting's gonna be all about. Are we bothering you, Offenote? The rug was just so nice. Excellent work, Komoi. The information you brought us helped me persuade General Raubon to call this meeting. Mayhap now we can discuss matters openly and honestly. We've been expecting you, madam. Please proceed inside. Look at this guy on the left. Looking cool. I think that's the Noctis outfit from the Noctis Final Fantasy XV event. Or at least part of it. We're still on level, right? Yes, of course. The thing that I got is Super Endgame. For 2.0.
Commander Swift has kept us apprised of your recent activities. You've made great strides towards quelling the violence.
Despite our best efforts to determine what provoked this uprising, the truth continues to elude us. Have you uncovered aught which might shed some light on the mystery?
This information does not leave this room. The Syndicate's decision to reject the Doman refugees' appeal for asylum had lasting repercussions. A number of those displaced by the calamity claimed it was proof of a policy of discrimination. Together with a group of Alamegan refugees, they organized a series of demonstrations to protest against the Sultanate. Demonstrations which became heated, but did not descend into violence. Until a certain incident served as a call to arms.
A unit of brass blades sent to supervise a demonstration loosed arrows upon unarmed protesters. It was this atrocity which prompted the refugees to take up arms. I need not tell you what followed.
We assumed at first that the attack was born of a miscommunication. When emotions run high, they happen. But suspicions were raised regarding the unit's commanding officer, whom I ordered interrogated. Sure enough, our fears were soon confirmed. The dog confessed that a merchant had offered him coin to give the order. A merchant in the employ of Teleji Adeleji.
Teleji Adeleji? But he spoke in favor of the Doman's cause, and has ever seemed sympathetic towards the refugees' plight. Why would he do such a thing?
Know you of the Cartano Reclamation Bill? It is a proposal to annex the Cartano Flats so that refugees may establish permanent settlements.
When last I looked, that was disputed territory.
Aye. Some might even call it a battlefield. The destruction wrought by Bahamut was greatest at the Cartano Flats. That much is common knowledge. What is less well known is that his rampage laid bare ancient Alagon ruins, of which no record existed. There are certain differences of opinion as to how these ruins should be handled, which is why each nation maintains a military presence in the region to this day. Yet differ though we may, we are still allies. Therefore, in the interest of preserving the Eorzean alliance, we have reached an agreement. Any conflict which may arise during the course of military exercises in the region shall have no bearing on relations between our nations. In full knowledge of this delicate state of affairs, Teleji Adeleji proposed the Cartano Reclamation Bill. A shameless bloody ruse which stands to benefit him in but one conceivable way. If successful, he will gain control over the disputed territory under the guise of assisting in the resettlement effort. And you can be sure he'll build an orphanage next to every Alagon ruin.
The man alone would threaten the unity of the Eorzean Alliance and risk countless lives for personal gain.
He walks a path all his own, independent of any faction and beholden to none of his fellows on the Syndicate.
By inciting the less fortunate to violence, he hopes to convince others that the Cartano Reclamation Bill is the only viable solution. His sympathy for the plight of the Domans was not but posturing to gain credibility with the refugees. Of that there can be no doubt.
Forgive me, but what could possibly motivate Teleji Adeleji to go to such lengths? What is so special about these ruins that he would risk his position on the Syndicate, and, most likely, charges of treason against the Sultanate?
Omega.
Pardon?
An Oligon monstrosity, not unlike the Ultima weapon. Mayhap larger, we know not. It has yet to be fully excavated. Oligon inscriptions indicate that it was created to fell Bahamut himself. If accurate, it might explain why Nail Van Darnus chose to bring the Red Moon down upon the Cartano Flats. Given the ends he went to ensure Eorzea's annihilation, destroying the one weapon which could stay the Elder Primal may well have seemed like good sense.
When first I bore witness to the power of the Ultima weapon, I doubted the evidence of my senses. And now you tell me there is another such weapon. One which could contend with Bahamut. Bahamut!
Aye, we were skeptical ourselves. Truth be told, until the Ultima weapon's existence came to light, we thought the inscription had been mistranslated.
At present, Omega is more akin to a fossil than a tool of war, having long since ceased to function. As such, its true potential cannot accurately be gauged. However, if someone were to restore it, as the Garleans did the Ultima weapon, I have little doubt that he would wield untold power.
Power enough to subjugate Uldar like as not, and the rest of Eorzea besides, which is doubtless why Teleji Adeleji yearns to have it.
That he should aspire to world domination. He who has ever walked 2 paces behind Lord Lolorito in matters of commerce.
'Tis in acknowledgement of his own limitations that he seeks this power. Woe betide us all should we allow him to have it.
Pray waste no time chasing rats. Only a fool would believe that secrets can be kept in Uldar.
It would seem the implications of the Sultanate's refugee problem are rather more far-reaching than we assumed.
I kind of forgot we got into all of that at this point. Of course, the Cartano Flats is an area that we can't actually visit in-game, or rather, in this part of the game. Closest would be Mordona, I suppose. Cartano somewhere in this area, I believe. Maybe over here. Not exactly sure. But the point is, what they were introducing there as the area being contested between the nations, the 3 nations, well, 3 of the 4 nations in Eorzea. It's part of a multiplayer map, the only place you can go to visit the Cartano Flats. And I guess that's why they introduced it. I believe around this patch where this series of quests was introduced. They introduced that map at the Cartano Flats, that map that was actually shown with Teleji Adeleji in Cartano, standing on a cliff or something overlooking some area. That area is the multiplayer map that I think only gets used a few times in the story. If you wanted to actually walk around there and see what Cartano looked like, the area that was kind of devastated in the middle of the war 5 years ago or something, as well as heavily important to the lore of, well, a lot of things, including Omega. You'd have to be there in the multiplayer map, or some other story-related stuff, but that's neither here nor there. I should be glad to know the truth, and yet, the thought that all this chaos was the product of one man's lust for power sickens me. How long do you think they intend to hide the existence of Omega from the Scions? Oh, intended to hide the existence. That they even felt the need to do so is most troubling. It would be in our best interest to learn more of the military activities in the disputed territories. Fortunately, you are already well positioned to do so, Corporal Moriko. Pray keep us informed of any developments in Cartano. Well, if we did any multiplayer, we would. I don't think Komori has much allegiance to the Storm, though. Be gone, whelp. This is no place for children. Is that any way for a royal guard to act? I'm sorry. I was looking for you, miss. You said you were looking for the man who left with my parents. You know this girl? So he visited Stone's Throw as well, I see. Did you find the man? Oh, were my parents with him? They were not, I'm afraid. However, I can think of several places they might be. If you like, we can go and look for them together. Really? You'll help me look, mister? Of course. But first I must needs finish speaking with my friend. She's telling me a secret, you see, so no one else is allowed to listen. Mayhap you could wait for me by that pillar over there. We require but a moment. Okay, mister. I'll be waiting. I'll take her to the quicksand. Mayhap Momodi will know what to do. A legion of Garleans, an ether-starved primal. Even dealing with an Ascian would be preferable to this charade. Sometimes I fear Minfilia is too ambitious. We rush hither and yon in response to threats as they arise, without concern for the strain it places on our limited resources and ourselves. Mayhap the time has come for a change. Komori, this is Minfilia. I know this is sudden, but I must ask you to return to Revenant's Toll with all due haste. The situation in the 12th Wood has taken a turn for the worse. I will explain in detail once you arrive. Speak of the devil. No, that's me. The 12th Wood, then the primal threat she spoke of before has been confirmed. I have received no reports of Ixali activity, which leaves the Sylphs. Go, Komori. You know as well as I that the appearance of a primal takes precedence over all else. Oh, and when you do arrive, do inform the antecedent that while I am grateful for her concern, she needn't fear for my safety. I am more than capable of protecting myself. At times it feels like these interweaving plot lines between the primals, world affairs, Guardians, and everything kind of conflict with each other. Of course, that's just natural in a world that has a lot going on. But in terms of storytelling, maybe it feels like, well, I guess it's obvious, they need to introduce a primal for you to fight in one of the patches, or a trial or something. It's not that they do that in every patch from here on out. Later on, sometimes they just do a dungeon with story, or a patch, or a trial with story. In this early case, for each 2.x patch, 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, etc., they made it a point to introduce a trial, which I guess was the key thing to bring players back. And as part of that story, or as part of that gameplay, the story needs to introduce some reason for that trial to come about. In this case, something going on in the 12s would, even if that's a little bit different from the overall story happening with the Domans and the refugees in Ul'dah and everything. It doesn't matter too much, but just some musings on the feelings, I guess, you get from playing through the patch 2.x quests. Nobody has moved yet, right? Yeah. The serpents? Oh, right. Fudania. I am come on behalf of the Elder Seedseer to petition the aid of your order. The antecedent has been apprised of the situation. It is a relief to see you healthy and hale, Komori. The latest news from Ul'dah was most disturbing. Clearly, the only injury Alphinaud suffered was to his ego. Doubtless it will heal ere long. The other scions will need to be present for this meeting. If you are ready to begin, I will summon them now. Lord of Levin. Thank you for responding to my call with such haste. Rest assured, I should not have summoned you were it not urgent. To business then. I have received some most disturbing news from the Order of the Twin Adder. They have reason to believe that the sylphs may have called forth their revered guardian, the primal Ramu. I'm sorry, may have? Then it is not certain. The Elder Seedseer informs us that the elementals themselves murmur of the Lord of Levin's return to the forest. The Sylphlands, however, display no signs of undue commotion. Forgive me, antecedent, but that fact need not contradict the elemental's testimony. Unlike his more bellicose compeers, Garuda and so on, Ramu is reputed to act only in defense of his children. I imagine he would soon make his presence known if any were foolish enough to directly endanger the sylphs or their territory. The abruptness of this development concerns me. Were we not keeping a close watch on the touched ones and their movements? If preparations for a summoning ritual were indeed underway, it would surely not have escaped your notice. Oh, it didn't. I was pretty sure it was going to happen, just not this soon. I beg your pardon. You foresaw this eventuality and did not to prevent it? I told Pompolimo. I suppose I could have reported things to Minfilia earlier, but there honestly wasn't much we could do except wait and see. You know how the sylphs feel about people poking around in their territory. They already summoned Ramu once right after the calamity, but that was because the Guardians came tramping through the forest. And so long as Castrum Orion stands, the sylphs cannot be blamed for wishing to have their guardian deity on hand. In short, Ida and I are in agreement. The actions of the forest folk were inevitable and unavoidable. And I maintain that observation would have remained the best policy, had it not been for the sudden influx of strangers into the Black Shroud, that alas we did not foresee. By all accounts, the recent violence in Ul'dah drove a number of refugees to seek safety under the concealing canopy of the trees. I guess this does tie into the main plot a little bit. 'Tis like that the South perceived this panicked migration as yet another invasion, and quicken their efforts to summon their god. I am put in mind of Titan and the kobolds. Once again, it is the affairs of men which have paved the way for a primal's coming. Indeed, one cannot help but wonder what manner of place Eorzea would be without the civilizing influence of mankind. Be that as it may, this regrettable development does afford us a unique opportunity. Komoy, through your dealings with the sylphs of Little Solace, you once succeeded in preventing an untimely conflict with Gradonia. I wonder, might one who has treated with the sylphs so fruitfully in the past not achieve similar success with their patron deity? If Ramuh can be convinced of our intentions, it may be the first step to breaking the cycle of primal summoning. A fond hope. Were such a thing possible, we would not have been at war with the Beastmen since time immemorial. But maybe this time we can. Let us continue to discuss this discussion anon. We must needs first consult with the nation most affected by Ramuh's presence. The Elder Seed Seer has requested your personal involvement, Komoy. Pray report to Commander Helu at the Adder's Nest as soon as you are able. Steel yourself for the worst. While I hope for a peaceful resolution to this matter, experience suggests that your meeting with the Lord of Levin will prove less than amicable. In such an event, your fellow scions will of course lend you whatever support you require. Same line. The Elder Seed Seer has asked for you by name. Pray report to Commander Halo at the Adder's Nest in Gradonia with all haste. Off we go then. Does this mean people have moved since we had that meeting? Or is Tancred still getting his game on over by the bar? Nope, we've got some movement. That means it's time to talk. Take care, Komoy. I look forward to hearing all about your adventures when you return. Duty calls. Well, no matter the task. I have faith you will see it through to the end. Ozan? What are you looking at? Gradonia? That's where we're going. The children are quick to take to Eorzean ways, but I cannot claim the same flexibility. What are you doing at the bar? I tried substituting native ingredients several times, but the result was but a pale imitation of authentic Doman cuisine. Hey, Miss Komoy, what's a Ramuh? Is it cute and fluffy like a horsebird? Well, maybe the beard is. Miss Komoy, is it true you're going on an adventure? Going to go adventuring again? I'm so jealous. Heard about leaving us alone? Don't be. While the Archons are away, Hori Boulder will keep the little ones safe. Can always count on you, Hori. Speaking with Master Coltonet has opened my eyes to a great many things. I had no idea the world outside Doma was so strange and wonderful. Mayhap one day we shall accompany you into the field. But for now, we must see to less glamorous duties. Nobody's been touching my stuff in my secret space, have they? Of course, there's no stuff here. But I'll know if a single speck of dust is out of place. Guess that's everyone here. The main scions are out and about. But hey, you know what's next to Gradonia? Crafting. It just so happens that, again, in the space between recordings there was just enough time to get enough ranks up on the Ixal. I'm surprised it happened so quickly. I think Komori figures she can spare the time for a quick side trip. Crafting waits for no woman after all. She can't let her side project fall apart. It seems like Ramu isn't really all that belligerent, so I'm sure he can wait on us while we figure out what to do here. You need our help? Squawk. We have need of Komori's help, Cecil does. Yeah, that's what I thought. So close we are, taking shape before our very eyes, Desil Quillan is. Hull for body, engine for heart. Next, fashion muscle to transfer power to wings we must. Developed by featherless ones, cerulean technology was very advanced. First Ixal in history to design and build our own engine we are. Function perfectly main engine components do. Flawless was Tataramo's design. An abundance of materials for upcoming tasks we have. But tiny problem there is. Maybe not so tiny. Squawk. Machine tool for cutting transmission parts? We have not. Many intricate gears and cogs harness power produced by engine. Propel propulsion system they do. With one precision gear wheel, then make lathes to grind such parts we could. Our best hope, Komori, is beg, sorrow, steal, but have that gear wheel we must. Only featherless one have item we seek. Rest on Komori's shoulder, fate of Dazul Quillan does. Things would fall apart without us if we didn't stop in every 1 or 2 episodes. Tataramu. I was listening on Sizzle's lamentations. It would seem we are in need of a new lathe, or failing that, a part will allow us to build one. A gear wheel such as the one we seek must be the highest degree of workmanship. Should it be warped even the smallest fraction, that imperfection will be reflected in the turning of the lathe and make the crafting of precision components impossible. No, it must be one made to extremely exacting specifications. I speak of the difference of a single hair's width here. In the entire realm of Eorzea, I could count on the fingers of one hand the master artisans who are capable of forging such a piece. Speaking of master artisans, I was able to reach level 50 just doing these daily quests pretty easily. I guess it's pretty soon we can take on the rest of the alchemist questline, but later. Later. We only stop for the Ixal quests, because those are time sensitive. And even should we be so fortunate as to secure the services of such a talented individual, we must consider the time it would take to craft the gear wheel. Our project might languish for weeks, if not months. It would be better, far better, were we to focus on obtaining an existing gear wheel, and then somehow convincing the owner to part with it. A lathe. Now where have I seen a lathe before? Ah yes, I have vague memories of seeing one in my grandfather's workshop, which was somewhere outside the city. Komori, that's it. You must return to Gridania and speak with Coulson once more. He's been with Highwind Skyway since the beginning. If anyone were to know what's become of my grandfather's lathe, it would be Coulson. He will likely be in or around the Carline Canopy. The old man is never far from the airships when not attending to business. Coulson is an old hand at my father's company and was well acquainted with my grandsire. He may remember what became of the tools from my grandfather's workshop, not to mention where the workshop actually was. I hope nobody over at the Adder's Nest is expecting us to come by soon. Hopefully they don't recognize me when I'm in my alchemist outfit. Wait, shouldn't that guy be here? Ah. Yes, I remember you. My eyesight may be failing, but my mind is yet sharp, thank you very much. You're the last Master Tadaramu employed as his delivery girl. Surely the materials I provided you were sufficient, yes? The young master wishes to know what became of the lathe from his grandfather's workshop. Well, now that does bring back memories. It must be nigh on 50 years ago now that I began my apprenticeship with Tatanora, a famous adventurer and businessman. I still recall the day he conceived his revolutionary enterprise. He proposed the idea of building passenger balloons that shared the principle, if not the purpose, of XIV dirigibles. His company was the very first air travel service in the realm, and marked the birth of Highwind Skyways. Of course, it was not until around 30 years later, when Sid Garland brought airship technology to Eorzea, that flights between cities became a regular occurrence. Those were the days, though. If I close my eyes, I can still see the workshop. I can still hear our excited optimism as Tachanora and I worked tirelessly on the construction of that first balloon. I'm not sure if they mentioned it later or if they already did, but I isn't quite really remembering how this whole company became Highwind Skyways, because after all, that's named after Sid, right? Sid Highwind? Or wait, is he even Sid Highwind in this game? I know he's Sid Highwind in like other games, like 7. In this he's like Sid Non-Garland, right? Or is he actually Sid Highwind under another name? I guess it's entirely possible that this business was called Highwind since the beginning, and Sid only took it over or became a major figure in it at a later point in time, thus completing the prophecy of becoming Sid Highwind. Maybe I'm getting that wrong. Anyway. Pray excuse an old man of his reminiscing. What were we speaking of? Ah yes, lathes. I believe the lathe Master Tataramu refers to was the one we used in the old Fallgord workshop. But I'm afraid the place was shut down and dismantled for lumber after Tatabaru assumed management of the company. It was the end of an era, after all. I wonder if there are any still in Fallgord who remember that time. Perhaps you might try speaking with the employees of the Bobbing Corp. Spread your wings and soar. That was the Skyway slogan. When I first heard Tatanora utter that phrase, I knew at that moment what my life's work would be. All that I am now began in that workshop, shaped by my craft even as I shaped wood and metal. I find myself hoping the lathe you seek has somehow survived. This guy really loves crafting. Komori probably still thinks crafting is for nerds and dweebs. But she doesn't consider herself a nerd or dweeb, heavens no. She just thinks that she's better than the nerds and dweebs at crafting. Hypocritical as it may be. Welcome to the Bobbing Cork, friend. Will you be needing a room? No? You've come for a drink and some gossip then? A lathe? I'm afraid I'm unfamiliar with the term. Some manner of tool from the old Skyways workshop that used to stand here in Fallgord? A pity our previous owner has moved on. 10 years I've worked here, but never have I heard any talk of such workshop. Well, I may know not of any lathes, but we do have a mountain of unclaimed possessions that we've been adding to since the dawn of bloody time. The inn has the largest storeroom in town, you see, and it's the favored reliquary for all manner of unwanted or forgotten artifacts that once belonged to either residents or customers. Only just this morning I thought to clear some space by throwing away the oldest and dustiest relics. You're more than welcome to sift through the pile outside and take whatever you wish. A clever way to make players... to not let players actually explore the interior storeroom and thus not model it. Just say that the guy was clearing it out and put the pile outside. Wouldn't you know it? A gear wheel for the lathe, right on top of the box. What perfect timing. It was sitting there for 50 years or something. Komoy, is that what I think it is? Speak of perfect timing. The gear wheel from the lathe. I came to Falport on the barest of remembrances, but I'm certainly glad I did. The workshop itself is gone, but some things are too precious to simply fling onto a midden heap. One of the artisans must have saved it. My grandfather was always well respected, you see, and even in his later years he would take me to see the workers practicing their trade. Listen well, Tataramu, he would say. Coin has its uses, but aught of true value is bought with passion and persistence. To reach the highest sky, you must spread your wings and soar. His words of wisdom were as the sweetest lullabies to me as a child. 'Twas likely his influence that encouraged me to pursue my love of airship design. What's this? The face of the gear wheel is engraved with a dedication of some kind. Wouldn't that hinder performance? Not that I would know. Probably not. For my dear friend, Dezul Qualan, on these wings I pledge our everlasting bond, Tatanora. But this would mean... Komoy, let us return to Hecatl and deliver this treasure to Sezul without delay. There are certain questions to which our Ixal colleague may hold the answers. If only the monitorists of Uldar were a little bit more like our friend here. Despite his wealthy nature, it seems like he's a little bit more down to earth. Tataramu. Squawk. Nervously waiting for Komoy's return, Cecil was. Releasing decidedly unblessed wind, valves were. You don't have to tell us that, Cecil. Ka. Yes, exactly what we need, this gear wheel is. Good. Edging much closer to reality, dream of Dezul Qualan is. Cezul, there is something I would ask you. Pale Tataramu looks, nervous belly like Cezul. Ask permission to use latrine trench, Tataramu need not. A trench, huh? Well, I guess they have limited buildings over here, so trench it is. No, Perhaps you should just read the inscription on this gear wheel. Inscription? See tiny words, Cezul did not. For my dear friend Dezul Qualan, on these wings I pledge our everlasting bond, Tatanora. Tatanora is my grandsire. He is the man who founded Highwind Skyways 46 years ago, and I'm fairly certain we've all heard that second name before. Ka. Squawk. Care to share the source of your amusement, Cezul? Too perfect it is, destined to fall into our hands as Gearwill was. Dezul Qualan, outcast and genius, first chief of Hecatl 9, master balloon maker, and Cezul's respected mentor. Your mentor? And the name of our hybrid airship? Yes, one and the same. Think of better way to honor Chief's memory, Cezul could not. Then it was true. Squawk? I speak of an old rumor. 'Twas said that grandfather's company was built on his appropriation of Beastman aeronautics. That all the balloons he flew were not more than base imitations of Ixali-made vessels. 'Tis a rumor that was officially denied, and any mention has been thoroughly expunged from written records, on the assertion that even unfounded claims of stolen Beastman technology would unduly harm Highwind Skyway's reputation. I had thought it merely the rumblings of rivals, sick with envy at grandfather's success. Yes, envy it was, Squawk. Envy that led your ancestors to steal our genius. Thieves and liars. Cezul, Caw, caw, caw. Pulling Tataramu's tail feathers, Cecil was. Judging by words on Gear Wheel, stolen from us this knowledge was not. Friends they were, shared craft with Tataramu's grandfather, Desil Kolon did. See it clearly, Cecil. Two dreamers gazing into vast sky, one feathered and one not. Not so different our past and present day. Fate has had a hand in our meeting, it would seem. I am honored to continue the friendship our elders began. Cecil Tortolock. Squawk. Dust in Cecil's eye there is. Back to work. Swiftly now, or find tongue shortened by on new lays, Tataramu will. Oh ho. Like in the shape of this. Thanks to your diligent efforts, Cecil's crew can now use their new lathes to craft the gears and cogs that will transfer power from the engine to the wings. Continue assisting the Encoder 9 to see the airship hybrid reach completion. I like these society quests with the beast tribes. They kind of tie a little bit more into that theme that's a little bit absent from the main story quests in 2.0. Which is seeing the beast tribes not as beast tribes, but as allies, I guess. Oh, I guess we're walking over this way. And in this quest in particular, seeing that it's not just a new thing that people are able to see past their differences, but that since even longer ago, people have been working together, the people of Gridania or wherever Highwind Skywars is from, and the Ixal, kind of throwing away that notion that the beast tribes are historically different people, or not the same as the people of Gridania or Eorzea, or what they call mankind, is I guess a word that was used earlier in this episode. But I guess they're all just kind of people. In a sense, you could call it an awkward feature of the writing that they call people like we see here, mankind, and call the beast tribes. But I think that's inherent to the storytelling of, I guess, the differences between the two peoples. Something that was hinted at in our conversation with the Scions back in Minfilia's office. How the kobolds were threatened and forced to summon due to encroaching men, so to speak. Same thing with the sylphs. As time goes on with Final Fantasy, that becomes more and more, I guess, apparent. How biased people were. But we'll get to that, I'm sure. Maybe. Komoi of the Scions. Your arrival has been most anticipated. The appearance of a primal is ever cause for alarm and unease. Though my men stand ready for any eventuality, I know of none more qualified than you to snuff out this threat. Indeed, I would have you do so without delay. The Elder Seedseer, however, would speak with you first. She is of the opinion that your diplomatic, rather than martial, skills may better serve our cause. I will leave further explanation to our learned leader. Pray, make your way to Nofika's altar. The conjurer in attendance will admit you to the Lotus Stand. I feel like we could have gone directly there rather than talking to Vorsail, Halu, whatever his name is. What is that gun? Pistol Eternal. Is that a new thing? Oh yes, that would be from a new thing. I guess it's technically not a spoiler to look at it at least, but the design might be something that, I don't know. Well, we won't get into that. The other scions have already arrived, madam. May I show you in? I am most curious to see how the Elder Seedseer means to treat with the Lord Ramu. I see the Sylphs have sent their own representative. There can be no doubt then. It is said that once Ramu has passed his judgment, his wrath is implacable. It would be best to conclude this discussion ere Gridania and its people are placed upon his scales. Whatever the Elder Seedseer is planning, I want you to know I'll be right there by your side. And I'm sure Ishtola won't be far behind, even if she does think everything is mankind's fault. Oh, hello, Walking One. It is good to see a friend of Elder One. Oops.
Scions of the Seventh Dawn, on behalf of the people of Gridania, I bid you welcome. Your presence is of great comfort to us all in these days of uncertainty. I summoned you here to share tidings of a most urgent nature. But a short while ago, the great elemental spoke, and his voice was clarion in its intensity. Ramu is returned unto the forest. Scarce had his words ceased to echo in mine ears when we were visited by an emissary from Little Solace. Our guest informs us that the Sylphs too have sensed the presence of the Lord of Levin. Though his exact whereabouts remain unknown, we may safely assume that the Primal was summoned within the heart of the Sylphlands. Unlike the other Primals you have encountered, Lord Ramu is no raging avatar of destruction. He is revered as much for his wisdom as his strength, serving as both arbiter and guardian to his children. Given that we and the Sylphs found a way to share the Twelves Wood, it is my hope that this sagely immortal will be amenable to reason, and that conflict may be avoided. Blessed as you are with the power of the Echo, you are one of the few among us who may commune with a Primal without fear of influence. I would ask, therefore, that you represent us in this most delicate of negotiations. The Twelves Wood has suffered enough. Upon this, we and the Sylphs, and I would venture Lord Ramu himself, are in perfect accord. Let us not endanger our shared home by engaging in unnecessary hostilities. Dear friend, I beseech you, safeguard the peace which exists between our peoples. You have my thanks. Pray make for Little Solace, then. A member of the Order of the Twin Adder awaits you there. He will advise you on how to find the Lord of Levin. An ill wind blows through the forest. Yet, it is not only the Twelves Wood that flinches at its coming. All the lands of Eorzea shiver in dread anticipation. Have care.
It's interesting to think about the distribution of primals in Eorzea. Udani has to contend with 3, technically. Mainly Ramu, I guess, from the Sylphs, and then, of course, Garuda, who I guess kind of does double duty in both the Black Shroud and Coerthus somehow. I don't think the Ishgardians deal with Garuda though, not really. And then there's King Mukulmog, who I guess makes less frequent appearances or is less serious, less severe. I don't really know. But then there's only 2 in Limsa-Lominsa, or near Limsa-Lominsa. But I guess the beast tribes there are a bit more ferocious. The kobolds and the Sahagin. While Ul'dah only has to really contend with 1, Ifrit, which I guess is pretty serious on its own, but they have more problems to deal with, as we've seen, than primals. Most of their problems come from themselves. Or the people at the top, anyway. And I guess people from outside. The Guardians forcing refugees into their midst. Komori of the Scions, I was told to expect you. I understand you go to treat with the primal Ramu himself. An unenviable task, but one for which I have no doubt you are well suited. I've been told that your fellow Scions are conducting an investigation of the area as we speak, that we might ascertain the location of the Lord of Levin, where the Lord of Levin might be found. I would ask that you abide here until they return with their findings. Alright, we'll wait. Are we done waiting? I was told that a messenger would be sent as soon as your fellow Scions finish their investigation. I do not imagine it will be much longer. This one returns, and returns with good tidings. Wise ones have finished searching, and have wisely identified the precise location where the Touched Ones summon Lord Ramu. Your timing is impeccable, my fluttery friend. Might you be so kind as to escort this good woman to her fellow Scions? It would be this one's pleasure, walking one. Please come with this one. We didn't really have to wait long. The Scions were with us during that conversation. I guess they dispatched out a lot quicker than we did. Maybe it would have made more sense to actually take on the crafting quest right then, when we were told to wait. Would have made a lot more sense, actually. But it's not like I planned these things out. Not really. And here we are, the border between green Sylphland and purple Sylphland. Or blue, or whatever. Purple. Wise ones have ventured deep within the Sylphlands. These ones must proceed carefully, and keep an eye out for touched ones. If you didn't do the Sylph quests, this would be your first time venturing into purple territory, or Sylph territory. Unless you were, I don't know, exploring around for no reason. The main quest doesn't take you this far into Sylphland. Just going on ground because I guess this is what you would have done back when you were taking on the original patch 2.3 quests when flight wasn't available. On my main character, I didn't really admire the Sylphland that much, even though I did all the beast quests. I just kind of flew to between point A and B without really looking at what was going on, and there were some more interesting landmarks, I guess, around. More interesting than this, although some of this might be pretty interesting. This one is most sorry, but this one can go no further. Draw too close to Lord Ramu, and this one may turn mean and nasty like touched ones. And so this one must say farewell for now. Walking One will find wise ones not far from here, to the south. Go in safety, Walking One. Actually, I would have thought they'd be to the north. Let's quickly take a detour. Admire some of these landmarks that I mentioned. I don't think the story will take us here, so... This is the edge of the map, but... seems kinda nice. I imagine there's something more in this direction, lore-wise. Like maybe this is where... the sylphs... I don't know. What are these structures for, other than lights? Are these, like, naturally growing? They don't seem like they are. Is it just some kind of decoration they put up? Ritual-based? And then off to the side, there's this little dead end, specifically for fate, apparently. I've maybe been here once or twice. What's this fate for? Puxio of the Short Gale, or Puxio. Can we do this quickly? With our item level, we should do a lot of damage, right? A fate in an episode once in a while is okay, I think, especially if it goes by quickly. Gotta summon Carbuncle. We'll say this is Komori thinning the Horde, even though we're here for peaceful negotiations. Maybe negotiations will go by a lot smoother if there are less belligerent individuals at the table. That's probably a terrible mindset for peaceful negotiations. But that's how Komori thinks. That wasn't worth a whole lot of flames or storm seals as I hoped. I haven't really been farming these, but I do want to rank up. One more rank. Need 15,000 for it though. There was a way I was getting storm seals before, but I don't remember what I was doing. It wasn't fates. Don't ask. Suffice it to say we had something of a situation here. Ah, there you are. It is you, isn't it? So, Thancred is Thancred, Papalimo is Papalimo, Y'shtola is Y'shtola, and you are you, right? Well, that's easy enough to remember. This one's name is Ida, in case Walking One was wondering. Joke, I'm joking. Seems like they had some kind of sylphic trouble or something. I'm sure Papalimo's gonna tell us all about it. And he'll tell us all about it next time. Komori is confused by their words and needs a moment to ponder about it. It would be a good time to take a break.